My name is Najib Hakim Harith bin Saparudin, and I will be presenting point number 1 and 2.
Hi, greetings to everyone. My name is Amirul Nazam bin Muhammad Yunus, and I'll be presenting point number 3 and number 4.
Hello and hi, greeting to Madam Sheila and my fellow friends. My name is Nur Ain Shakirin binti Muhammad Jaafar, and I would like to present about the 5th and 6th point, causes of animal extinction.
Hi and greetings to Madam Sheila and our fellow friends. My name is Ungku Najih Haizani binti Ungku Mizan, and I'm going to present the 7th and 8th point of causes of animal extinction.
The first causes of animal extinction are human encroachment on habitat, the expansions of the human transportation system, utilities, buildings, and other development into the natural regions is known as encroachment. Elephants are seriously endangered because of the endless human encroachment into their habitat. Even the Malaysian wildlife faces a desperate fight for a survival into the future, and without urgent interventions, many of our country's endangered species will soon be wiped out. The conservation NGOs also have repeatedly warned that all these destructive activities has taken a serious toll on our wildlife, yet little has been done in addressing the critical situations. Once rampage occurs in a village, they are characterized as rogue elephants for intrusion into human space, when rightfully the land was originally theirs. In the case of villagers, farms and plantations are encroaching on wild habitat. They are either considered as nuisance or pet. In the case of endangered species, they will be relocated. If they are not protected, they will either be killed, caught, or even eaten. This brings to mind of the case of 10 pygmy elephants were found dead in Tawau in January 2013. Elephants are important to the environment because they serve to sustain forests and savanna habitats for other species, and they are indirectly linked to a diverse biodiversity. Elephants play a crucial role in ecosystem engineering. They create a passageway in densely wooded area that allow other animals to travel through. It is about time that the Natural Resource and Environment Ministry to take a real hard look of the wildlife situations in our countries and come out with outlined methods and principles to achieve its directive of maintaining the sustainability of remaining forests and its wildlife. There are even signs shows that the elephants were poisoned, but despite Sahabat Alam Malaysia, also known as SAMS, writing for answers, the mystery continues to this day. Other than that is industrializations, which is the development of road and highways, also lead to animals become extinct. Rapid development of road and highways enveloping the whole country is forcing the animal to come out from their natural habitat. Road and highways cutting through the forest has resulted in many wildlife species ending up as victims of the motorized vehicles. Most of the incident happens as animals attempt to cross road or highways in search of the new land, food, mates, and habitat. For example, tapirs and other smaller wildlife species are the common roadkill casualties. The escalations in loss of the natural wildlife habitats threaten the very existence of many endangered wildlife species. Tapir are most important species in the tropical forest. It is because tapir help to shape and preserve the biological richness of the environment. They are expert at disseminating seeds and fertilizing them, ensuring a constant food supply and a shelter for themselves and other creatures. Affected too will be the animal food sources, their dietary requirement, as in the case of the salt licks carrying the capacity of the species, and the pocketed ferrets leading to the survival crisis. The problem is not only confined to Malaysia alone but also happening throughout ASEAN member countries. The key priority to be addressed is whether there are some form of policy with a clear description of what actions will be taken and by whom, as well as firm commitment to ensure that it can be implemented effectively in order to ensure that the development can reduce the effect to the environment. Sahabat Alam Malaysia (SAM) has repeatedly emphasized the need for wildlife conservation to be included in all development plan, but that does not seem to be in the case. The biggest challenge is to ensure the development does not jeopardize the effort in the wildlife conservation, in which case we need to know whether there are clear policy, wise planning and scientific advice from the expert to ensure that the human and wildlife can coexist and live conflict-free.
The third causes of animal extinction are overexploitation of species. Overexploitation of animals leads to habitat loss, which has an impact on animal reproduction and poses a significant threat to species that have been taken from forest area. Overexploitation can lead to resources depletion and put a number of threatened and endangered species at risk of extinction. Thence, hunters who seek to capture hunting animals can now easily access difficult places due to overexploitation of development such as a building, roads, and pathways. Whether they are done legally or illegally, all types of hunting have led to extinction of species. If we are not controlled, many more animals will be thrown into extinctions. Next, the declines and eventual extinction of forest species such as birds, rabbit, and oak trees as a result of unethical forestry activities lead to animal extinction since they were robbed of their homes. Deforestation, for example, will affect animals in many ways. It causes habitat destructions, increased risk of predation, reduced food availability, and much more. As a result, some animals lost their homes and food sources. Lastly, overexploitation of animals will lead to rising atmospheric concentration of carbon dioxide and nitrogen deposition, resulting in animal extinction as a result of the polluted environment. The polluted environment, such as air pollutant, can poison wildlife through the disruption and endocrine function, organ injury, increased vulnerability to stress and disease, lower reproductive success, and possible deaths to the animal. The fourth causes of animal extinction are by disease. Animal disease will impact the animals such as Hawaii bird species that are unable to cope with the parasite's pain. It is because when living agents such as bacteria enter the animal body, they will cause a disturbance of function, and also the disease will occur and getting worse. Next, the disease that come from parasites such as Plasmodium relictum has caused the animal extinction. This happened because the animal need to find a safe place for the breeding and survival to their species. Moreover, the disease spread by mosquitoes will tend to induce global warming, which will lead to extinction of bird species. As a result, food and freshwater sources are being drastically reduced. Then, of course, there are the rising global temperatures themselves, which many species are physically unable to contend with. Lastly, survivors such as birds are now constrained to altitude above the disease thermal tolerance limit, which are caused by mosquito vectors. Not only can mosquitoes carry disease that afflicts humans, they also transmit several diseases and parasites to the animal and give harm to them.
The fifth point causes of animal extinction is poaching. Wild animals are being poached on a massive scale with millions of individual animals of thousands species worldwide killed or captured from their native habitats. According to Hall 2019, poaching is increasing threat to elephant, rhinos, and other famous species, as well to smaller and less well-known creatures such as lizard and monkey. Besides that, Hall 2019 also focused that Poaching occurs due to the activities of capturing and killing wild animals on a larger scale. Poaching can cause a population to suffer from a lack of gene variation. The wild animals have difficulty adapting to change in nature and threatening to the extinction. In addition, according to Hall 2019, poachers hunt wild animals to prevent them from destroying crops and killing livestock. This usually happens in village area where the locals grow plants to support their life. When wild animals lost their habitat, it will find a new habitat and will enter to the village area for food. Due to that, the animals will be killed by the locals because of damaging the crops. Moreover, Hall 2019 also stated that poaching has devastating consequences toward wildlife as they can cause loss of survival for species. The wildlife trade is a major threat to animals regardless of species or whether exotic or not. Illegal hunters do not care at all. As long as there is market demand, they will hunt the animals. We will move to the next point, causes of animal extinction, which is illegal trade animals. According to Hall 2019, poachers kill or capture wild or exotic animals to sell it locally or for the global wildlife trade. Wildlife crime is a big business. It run by a dangerous international network. Wildlife and animal parts are trafficked much like illegal drugs and arms. By its very nature, it's almost impossible to obtain reliable figures for the values of the illegal wildlife trade. Next, Hall 2019 also stated that wild animals are usually killed by poachers to obtain certain parts, such as poaching of animals for ivory and tigers for their skins and bone. Wild animals from tens of thousands of species are caught or harvested from the wilds and then sold it as food, pets, leather, tourist ornament, and medicine. Wildlife trade escalates into a crisis when an increasing proportion is illegal and unsustainable, directly threatening the survival of many species in the wild. Other than that, Hall 2019 also focused that the demand for wild and exotic animals is increasing in certain countries due to having its fans in West Asian countries such as Africa, China, and other countries. In some places, wild sources animal features as element of staple diet, especially if their meat serve as a protein supply, because alternatives are not available or not affordable. Traditional cooking, especially in rural areas, often use product sources from the wild. And the others is they use to medical purposes. Last, for the illegal trade animals, Hall 2019 described that the huge profit from the sales of wild and exotic animals caused these animals to be constantly hunted. Poaching is now usually done for commercial profit, both its legal and black market. Poaching can be serious threat to many wildlife species, particularly those protected in wildlife reserve or national park. Many species of animals have been limited range or depleted in numbers, sometimes to the point of extinction, by the depredation of market hunters.
Moving on to the other causes of animal extinction, which is deforestation, focusing on logging activities. According to Osborne 2016, he stated that the activities of tree cuttings are now actively done by the irresponsible people in Sumatra that leads to the loss of orang-utan's habitat. This is due to the fact that orang-utans live on the survival of species and for the sake of foods. Even there are selective logging made by the loggers, orang-utan's habitat still decreasing as the forest fruit being taken from trees. In addition, the removal of mature trees lead to the decreasing of fruit supplies that was found from the tree itself. The fruit supplies are essential for the orang-utans as it is their main source of nutrition. As far as we concern, and many worried citizens may wonder about what they can do to stop this deforestation from happening. Despite what some people think, avoiding papers and also any wood-based products won't help to stop these deforestation activities. In fact, the pulp and the paper industry is also one of the few that help to conserve the forest by replanting the trees that they cut down. Instead, what we can do is we can make the government of our country to amend the existing policies that focusing on the logging activities in order to save our orangutan's habitat from being extinct and also to save our forests. Lastly, we can see that the ignorance of conservation laws lead to animal extinction. Osborne stated that farmers in Sumatra has breached the conservation laws by having the agricultural expansion activities. The activities leads to a conflict between the farmers and also the orangutans due to the disruption of their habitat. Other than that, the villages itself kill orangutans for their bushmeats and traditional medicine, which has breached the National Law No. 5/1990 of Indonesia. There are also other issues of breaching the conservation law, where the orphans infants of orangutans being sold in the black market, where they're supposed to protect and also they must put them in rehabilitation center. According to the 15 Sustainable Development Goals by United Nations, where they highlighted about the life on land, they're focusing on protecting, restoring, and also promoting sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, sustainably manage forests to combat desertification, and also to halt and reverse land degradation, and also to halt biodiversity loss. Hence, the rules of the conservation law is very crucial and also important in achieving the goals and to avoid animals from being extinct, especially orangutans.
For the conclusion, there are a lot of causes of animal extinction. It is important for us as a human to reduce the causes of the animals' extinction. It is because animals help to maintain the ecosystem overall health. It is a warning that an ecosystem is out of balance when a species become endangered and existing. Besides that, the government plays an important role in preventing poaching from happening. This is because policies or law issued by the government can provide punishment to the poachers. Clearly, humans really get the benefit from the conservation of endangered species and the restoration of environmental equilibrium across the world. Protecting animals as well as the seas, wood, and grassland in which their life will undoubtedly contribute to the long-term survival of all the species in the world.